Hey guys, this is Balu from Balu Prem and once again welcome you all back for an exciting tutorial. In this tutorial I will show you how we can create this kind of simple 3D logo animations in Adobe After Effects using Element 3D plugin easily. So hope you guys will find this tutorial useful, but before going to that, if you end up liking this video, please click on that like button, do share this content, and if you are new to this channel, consider subscribing my channel and support me. And by the way, if you like short 3D simulation videos, you can check out my second channel, link in the description. So now without any further ado, let's start today's video. So here we are in After Effects. Now let's start this by creating a new composition. So further, click on this new composition, come to this preset options here. Here I will be selecting this HD1080, which is a full HD resolution with a frame rate of 30 and duration of 15 seconds. Hit OK. Now let's import our logo onto this project panel. So for that, right click on this project panel, import selective file, or else you can directly drag and drop your logo onto this project panel. So here I am using an illustration file. So for that reason I am getting this dialog box. If you are using image format, you won't get this one. So if you are using illustration file and you want a single layer of your logo, so select this footage, or if your logo contains multiple layers, select the composition. So here I want the logo to be in single layer. So I'll select the footage and hit OK. Now again select your logo and drop it onto this timeline. So here we got our logo, right? So if you are using image file, make sure that you are using PNG format, that is with transparent background. Okay, so now in order to convert our logo into 3D, we need to first auto trace our logo. So for that reason, select the logo layer, come to this layer options and click on this auto trace. So make sure the channel is set to alpha, and rest and all I will leave like that only, and enable this apply to new layer option. After that, click on this OK button. So here our logo is auto traced and we got a new layer created with the name auto trace. So now we can hide out our logo layer. So let's hide it out. Now let's create a new solid layer for Element 3D. So go to this layer options, new, create a solid, and let's rename this as element, make it of comp size and hit OK. Now come to this effects and presets panel. If you're not finding this panel here, go to this window and enable effects and presets. And in this panel, look for element. So element is a third party plugin. So select this element and drop it onto this element layer. Now come to this custom layer options, expand this custom text and mask. So in path layer 1, we need to select this auto traced layer. So click on this none and select our auto traced layer. After that, click on this scene setup button. So now we got a new window open to work in Element 3D. Now click on this extrude button. Here you can see we got our logo. So here these edges, you can see these are not smooth. We got some extrusions here. So let's fix that first. So click on this OK button and let's hide out this element layer. Select this auto trace layer. The reason for those things are, you can see we got these trace points, right? These are close to each other and they are in irregular format. So let's delete the track points which are close to each other. So I will delete one by one. So here I have cleared some track points, few track points. Let's check now. So enable this element layer, go to the scene setup once again, click on the scene setup. So now you can see we got those edges smooth, nice. So now let's apply some materials onto the logo. So before that, let's increase the extrude value. So let's select the material, increase this extrusion value. So I will change this to 4. So this much of extrusion is fine, or else let me change this to 3, fine. So now let's apply some materials onto the logo. So here I will be using ProShaders pack. So let's select the metal. So where is this? Select the metal one, and here I will be applying this clean metal. So now we got this material applied onto the logo, nice. So now let's duplicate our logo first. So right click, duplicate model, again right click and duplicate model. So let's rename this one. So let's double click on this, rename here. So here we have duplicated our logo thrice. So let's hide out this second and third and let's work on this first one. So select the first logo, select the metal. So here I will be expanding the edges. So let's expand the edges to 1. So after that, being selected this metal, scroll down and click on this bevel outline option. Just enable it so that we will get only outline visible. And let's increase this outline width value. So I will change this to 0.5. So I think this much is fine. Select this second logo and just move forward, and let's apply some other material onto this. So I apply gold metal onto that. Okay, so let's select the metal, and for this I will enable this bevel outline option once again, and I will increase this outline depth value to 2. So okay, this is fine. Now select this third one and bring it forward. So I think this much is fine. Now select the metal and let's reduce the expand edges value to minus 0.5. Okay, so I think this much is fine, and let's add some other material onto this. So here I will add this material, so let's drag and drop it onto this. So now you can see we got that material added. So let's place this here so that those three materials are visible. Nice. So now let's assign this second and third material to the aux channels. So select this second metal or second logo, right click, aux animation, set it to channel 1. Now select this third one, right click, aux animation, set it to channel 3. So these three logos are in group 1, and we have set this second logo to aux animation channel 1, and we have set this third logo to aux animation channel 2. Okay. So now click on this OK button, and now we can hide out this auto traced layer. So in order to view this in 3D space, first we need to create a camera layer. So go to this layer options, new, create a camera, and preset let it be 35mm and hit OK. So now if I select this unified camera tool and if I rotate this, you can see we got our logo in 3D space. So now let's animate our logo first. So select this element layer once again, come to this group 1. As our logo is in group 1, expand this group 1 option. So come to this aux channels. So we have set second and third logos to this channel 1 and channel 2, right? So let's select this channel 1, expand this one, enable keyframe for this position Z. So here you can see we can move this second logo here, right? So let it be 0. So make sure you are on the first frame, add a keyframe for this position Z, and also expand this channel 2 and add a keyframe for this position G of channel 2. So now move 3 or 4 seconds forward in timeline. Now move the position of this channel 2 to, I think, minus 0.3 will be fine. Now come to this channel 1 position value and change this to minus 0.15. So now if I play this, you can see we got this kind of animation. Nice. So here we don't want this to be happening simultaneously. So select this element layer, press U on the keyboard for keyframes. So here I will reduce this channel 2 keyframe. So I will make it start from here and end frame let it be like that only. So no, I need to bring it this front. So let this above metal rise first, later this second one. So let's bring it here, let it be at the center. So now if I play this, you can see we got this kind of animation. Nice. So now being selected all the keyframes, press F9 to easy ease them. So now come to this last frame, press K on the keyboard, press Ctrl Shift D to split the layer, or else go to this layer options and select this split layer. So now we got this. Now select the keyframes from here, or else you can press U on the keyboard. Now select the keyframes, hold Shift key and move the keyframes here like this, so that the starting keyframe starts from this second layer. Now again come to this last frame here. Now again split the layer once again. So edit, split the layer. Now select this third element layer, press U on the keyboard. Now select these keyframes, move them by holding Shift key and make sure this starting keyframe is coming to this point. So for this last portion, I will reduce the distance between the keyframes. So come to the starting keyframe here, press J on the keyboard to come to the frames, hold Alt key and move the keyframes here slightly a bit. So I think this much is fine. So now at the exact layer length we will cut our camera layers. So let's bring camera layer. So let it be here first. Now select this element layer, press O on the keyboard to come to the last frame of this element layer. Now select this camera layer, split it. So edit and split the layer. So we got the camera layer splitted. So now place this just above to this element layer. Now select this element layer, press O on the keyboard to come to the last frame. Select this camera layer, split it, go to edit and split that layer. Now move this camera layer above to this element layer, come to the last frame here and split it. So here, okay. So let's split this element layer also and let's place this element layer above. So now you can see we got camera layer and element layer one by one. So now let's animate the camera. So now select this camera layer, expand these options, come to this transform options and enable this point of interest and position. So enable keyframes here. So now being on that first frame, let's adjust the position. So first let me change this to fit option. So let's adjust the position and long press here and select this track the camera tool and let's place this. Let it be here. Okay, let it be here like this. Now press O on the keyboard for that last frame and let's rotate this. So select this unifier and rotate this here a bit. So if I play this, we'll get this animation. Okay, nice. So now select this second camera layer, press I on the keyboard. Now let's add keyframe for this. So expand this camera layer, transform, add a keyframe for this position of interest and point of interest and position. Now let's position this once again. So for this last layer, camera layer, I will select the camera layer, come to these transform options. Here click on this reset so that we will get this straight perspective. After that, let's move on to this 12th frame, 12th second and expand this transform, add a keyframe for this point of interest and position. Now come to the starting frame of this camera layer. So press I on the keyboard to come to the starting frame. Now select this track Z camera tool and zoom it up here like this. So now we'll get this zoom out animation. Nice. So if I play this now, you can see we got this animation which is looking good, but we need to add some dip to black effect where the camera angle is changing. So at this moment, let's add some dip to black effect. So for that, let's add an adjustment layer. So go to this layer option, new, create an adjustment layer. Okay. So now select this second camera layer, press I on the keyboard to come to the starting frame. Now select this adjustment layer, come to this effects and presets and look for levels. So now select these levels and drop it onto this adjustment layer. Okay, here we got the values right. So now add a keyframe for this histogram here. So press U on the keyboard so that we can see the keyframe. So now move 20 frames backward. So for that, hold shift key and page up twice to move 20 frames backward and add a keyframe for this histogram. Now move 20 frames forward from this point. So let's come to this keyframe. So press K on the keyboard for that keyframe. Now move 20 frames forward. So hold shift key and page down twice. So now add a keyframe for this histogram. So now come to this middle keyframe here. Press J on the keyboard to come to this middle keyframe. And here let's reduce this curve value to black. So now it is completely black. So now let's trim out this adjustment layer to these keyframes. So press J, select this adjustment layer and Alt open brackets to cut that. Now come to this last keyframe, Alt open bracket to cut it from here. So now if I play this, you can see we got this dip to black effect. So now let's duplicate this adjustment layer and place them at the moment of camera change. So select the layer, Ctrl plus D to duplicate it, or else you can go to this edit option and duplicate it and press U on the keyboard to reveal the keyframes. Now select this third camera, press I on the keyboard. Now this is the timeline, right? Now select this second adjustment layer and move it so that our middle keyframe comes to this timeline. So I think this is fine. Now duplicate once again, Ctrl D, select this fourth camera layer, press I on the keyboard to come to the starting frame. Now select this duplicated one, press U for keyframes and place this so that the keyframe comes at the center. So now let's add depth of field. So for that we need to work on camera layers. So select this first camera layer, expand these options, come to this camera options here and enable this depth of field option. So click on this off button, it will be enabled. Now let's increase this aperture value to 100. You can see it got blurred out completely. So now we need to manually adjust the focus distance. So let's start with 300, or else if you want to see the focus distance clearly, we can do that. Select this element layer, scroll down, come to this output options, expand this one, come to this show options and change it to focus. So now we can adjust the value here. So select this camera layer, come to this focus options, and now if I move this, you can see this will be the focused area. So let's make it 350. So let it be, or else let's change this to 400. Okay, this complete area will be focused. Now again change this to composite. So come to this render settings output and change it to composite. So now you can see we got that area in focus. So if you want to increase the aperture value, you can do that. So select this aperture and increase this. So I will change this to 125. Okay, so that we get some more blur added into the scene. And also let's increase this focus distance to 450. And let's see this. Okay, so this is looking good. So let's repeat the same with this second camera layer. So select this second camera layer, expand this, come to this camera options, enable this depth of field. Now let's move here. Now select this element layer, come to the render settings here. Sorry, come to this output properties and show change it to focus. So now we need to adjust the distance of the camera. So focus distance, let's start with 300. So now this portion will be in focus. Let's change this to 650 and let's see. So this will be focusing here. Let's change this to 500. Okay, so we want this to be in focus, or else let's reduce to 475. Okay, so this area will be in focus. Now again select this element layer, come to the output under this render and change this to composite. So now let's add a background layer. So go to this layer options, new, create a solid, and I will rename this as BG. Make it of comp size and hit OK, and make it as a last layer in the timeline. So bring it down, make it as a last layer. So now being selected this background layer, come to this effects and presets and look for gradient ramp. So select this gradient ramp and drop it onto this background layer. And start color, I will change this to black, and end color I will change this to somewhat like dark wine color. And if you want to change this linear ramp to radial, you can do that. So this will be looking good, I think. And let's change this value here, let it be at the center, and let's increase the scatterized value like this. Okay, fine. So now here you can see we got a background added. So now select the element layer, scroll down to render settings. So come to this render settings here, expand this ambient occlusion, enable ambient occlusion, and intensity I will change this to 5 so that we get some nice ambient added, and enable this option for each element layer. So let's select this second element layer, scroll down, come to this render settings, ambient occlusion, enable ambient occlusion, and change the intensity to 5. So now we got this nice occlusion added into the scene. Nice. So now let's see how we can change the look of our logo completely. So for that we need to select the element layer, come to this scene setup once again. Here if I enable this environment button, you can see the current logo is in this environment. So the reflections of this environment will fall onto this logo. So if I change the environment, the changed environment reflections will fall on the logo and this will look different. So let's see that. So click on this environment. So click on this environments basic pack. So here I got this backlight environments. So I will select one from that. So if I scroll down, if I select this blue and red, it will be looking different. So I think this is looking good. So I will apply the same environment to rest of the element layers. So now you can see we got the environment applied and our logo is looking different. So if you want to rotate the environment, you can do that also. So for that again select this element layer. So select the element layer, come to this render settings. So come to this render settings. Here come to this physical environment, come to this rotate environment option, and from here you can rotate the environment. So here you can see we can rotate the environment. So let's rotate this. So make it 0, be on the first frame, add a keyframe for this. Come to the last frame of this element layer, press 0, and let's change this to 25 degree. So now if we play this, the environment will also rotate here. And additionally you can change the lighting. So if I expand this one and add lighting, if I click on this none button, you can select any of the presets. So if I change this to dramatic, it will change like this, and if I change this to stylized, it will be changed like this. So depending upon your choice, you can choose any of the thing you like. So if I set to spot blue, it will be like this. Underwater, it will be like this. So you can choose whichever you like. So here I will be, let me select dramatic. So I think this is looking bit better. So I have added this lighting and rotation of the environment to rest of the element layers. So finally, if you want to add any light source, you can do that in the scene. So let me show you how to do that also. So come to this layer options, new, create a light. So let it be parallel light, and the intensity I will change this to 125 and hit OK. So now we got some light in the scene. So if you want to increase the intensity of the light, go to this layer options once again, light settings, and increase the intensity here. So if I change this to 250, it is looking much better. Nice. So in this way, we can create this kind of simple 3D logo animations in Adobe After Effects using Element 3D plugin easily. So hope you guys have learned something new from this tutorial. If you have learned anything new, please like, share and subscribe my channel to support me. So I'll meet in the next video. Until then, signing off. Take care. Bye.